Hi, welcome to LB0 Fox India Norwegian Ham Ventures. I'm Morten, LB0 Fox India. And sometimes you just come over a product that is so wild that you just gotta have a look at it. And what I have here in my hands, the Baofeng AR-152 with the Abri antenna, is one of those totally crazy products. The radio by itself, and I'm just gonna measure it now, I haven't measured it before, is a whopping 22 centimeters long. And when you then add about 50 centimeters of an Abri, you have 70 centimeters of radio here, guys. That's almost a meter of radio. And that's insane. So we're going to do this relatively easy, though. I want to see if this radio, which is sponsored by AliExpress, actually is any good. I want to see if it has the 15 watts that they claim it to have. I really doubt that. I want to see if it's spectrally clean, so I'm going to put it on a nano VNA. And I want to discuss if this is just a UV5R or similar in the Emperor's New Clothes. And let's start with the last one. I think it is. The menu structure is the same. It's programmable in chirp as the BF8P or something. Something similar, at least. So, yes, that is so close that I'm going to think that this radio, and it's so huge that I can't hold it, is pretty much UV5R in the Emperor's New Clothes. That doesn't mean it's a bad radio, though, if it delivers on A, output power, preferably B, spectral cleanness, and if it's fun to use. And I think the fun aspect is the main issue with this radio. This is not going to be your everyday carry. Speaking about one more thing that I'm not going to test, though, that's the battery, which is the major part of this radio. It is claimed to be 12,000 milliamp hours. Battery doesn't say, though. So we're not going to test that. It feels heavy enough, so it's a larger battery than your average Baofeng, though. And this Baofeng, at the time of recording, and I'm going to take a look at it here, is for radio only $42.53. But you can get this in a lot of packages, though. You can get it as a radio and a case. Radio, case, programming cable, different charge cables, a mic, and molly pouch. And I think that's the top tier. At the time of recording, it's $67.27. So first of all, let's take a look what's in the top tier package, and then we'll put it on the meter. And if you haven't heard about AliExpress before, AliExpress is an online marketplace where you can get pretty much anything. And by anything, I mean anything. You can get cheap stuff, expensive stuff, high quality stuff, low quality stuff, and everything in between. But I get my ham radio gear on AliExpress. And there's going to be affiliate links to the radio down below. And there's also going to be some discount codes popping up right over there at some points during the video. So let's take a look at what's inside that big carrying case for this radio, and then we'll put it on the meter. And this is the case it comes in, and you know, my desk is so small and so messy that I just needed to add another level. So I got a 3D printed camping table here, which I plan to use for QRP operations later. Let's see if I can zoom out here a little bit so you can see what's inside this case, because it's relatively big. So first, let's take a look at this extra little mesh pouch here. You get a molly pouch for the radio, and in case you want to carry that somewhere, you actually need that because the radio is so incredibly big. Then you got the Abri antenna, which I showed you, which is also relatively big. Nice add-on to have, though. You get a really big Baofeng branded speaker mic. Seems good. Feels cheap, but looks cool. And I think that's the thing with this radio, though. It's about looking tactical. You get a programming cable here. awesome. That's really nice to have. And everything's military green out of what you get. It's the first green Baofeng cable I've ever seen. Furthermore, we have, and this isn't military green, but it's a USB charge cable. One of 3 options to charge your radio with. The second one is a car charger here. And looking at the plug, you probably figured out that the battery has a charge plug on the side here. And the third option to charge it is this wall brick here, which is inside. You do have a manual. It's the standard Baofeng manual. It's nothing to write home about. In the pouch here, you have the radio and the battery. The battery is not marked with capacity here. So honestly, I don't know what the capacity is, but it's heavy, so I'm guessing it's probably not at the 12 amp hours stated, but it's at least bigger than a usual HD battery. And then finally, you have a rubber duck here, which you can put on if you don't want to have that ridiculously large Abri antenna. And that's the contents of the bag. So let's move it over and check the power meter and see what the output is. And I just want to say that actually getting a bag like this is actually good. When you need to store the radio, you have a place to put the radio and all the accessories, which is great. So at the moment, we have the radio at 145/500. We're at high output power, and I'm going to press the button here. This is connected to this meter, and then there's a dummy load on the back, so I'm not radiating anything. And just a smidge under 5 watts on high power. That's far from the 15 watts promised. Let's just, for curiosity's sake, test low power as well and see. And on 2 meter low power, it's about 1 watt. And I'm guessing mid power is somewhere in between. It was the high power that I really wanted to see and wanted to show you guys. So let's check 70 centimeters though. 433/500 is good. And we need to go to high power. And 70 centimeters high power is 6-ish watts. Also a far cry from the promised 15 watts. So we have the radio hooked up to the Tiny SA here, and I know I might have said nano VNA, and I'm going to try to get across the camera here and key up. That's going through 50 dB attenuator here. So let's key up and see how it looks on 2 meters. And on the Tiny SA, we need to let this roll for a while to let everything stabilize. And then we're going to freeze the frame. So you can see how it goes here. I think we're about there now. Let's see. Trace and freeze. Now I can release here. Let's zoom in on the screen. And as you can see, it's completely clean on 2 meters. And just for fun, let's check 70 centimeters as well. And then we have 70 centimeters, and that's going to take a little bit longer than 2 meters, just since we're measuring a larger piece of the spectrum here. So let's see how we end up here on 70 centimeters. I have measured this before though, and I can tell you it's not as clean on 70 as it is on 2. But we'll see here after we've let it go for a while and see. Let it do 1 or 2 more sweeps and then we'll freeze the frame and see. Let's just finish the sweep and we'll freeze the frame and zoom in. Let's see. Let's trace and freeze. So this little attenuator is actually getting a tad bit warm. So let's zoom in, and these are the results on 70 centimeter. I mean, they're not by any means fantastic, but I've seen worse, and this is perfectly usable. So let's move on back to the studio, and we'll draw some conclusions on this Baofeng AR-152. So we're back here, and let's call it the studio setting. And well, video-wise, I am experimenting a little bit on lighting at the moment. So you might have seen that my last video was a little bit, tad bit overexposed. Not sure how this is. This is not my main job, making videos. So I need to experiment, and I need to do things in my own pace. But if you want to comment on my video quality being crappy, feel free to do that, and you'll get a snarky reply back. But anyhow, the AR-152, this time without an antenna, because I just took it straight off the Tiny SA now, which I think I have at some point, and I lost one of my lights here, so let's see if we can get that back on. I think I'm running low on battery on some of the lights, actually, even. Let's conclude, though. Baofeng AR-152, it's not the best radio in the world. It's more expensive than UV5R at about $65. But what the heck? It's a fun little radio, and you'll grab some attention. I brought this to the club meeting last week, and I've never seen a radio gain this much attention as the AR-152 did. So if you want something that looks a bit tactical, looks like a military radio, can also work as a hammer in a pinch, go straight ahead. I like this radio. I didn't think I was going to like this radio, but honestly, I do. And I just have to give it a thumbs up. So if you enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. If you watched this far and didn't like this video, as some of you people actually tend to do, give it a thumbs down then. Besides that, consider subscribing, hit the bell, all kind of stuff. I have memberships down below. Enough about that. I'll see you guys down the bands. I'll see you in my next video. 7-3, my friends.